The thing about risk is that you would never take a risk that you didn't think in some way could play out, right? It could be that you've lived your whole life and every risk you've taken has worked out for you. Maybe there hasn't really even been much struggle in some of the challenges that you've taken on. But at some point in your life, it's likely that you will take a risk that leads to a challenge that feels insurmountable. And you get to a time where things just aren't working out for you. Maybe it's the case that you didn't take an informed risk. You didn't realise what you were walking into when you decided to look at that opportunity and decide it was the right thing to do. Or maybe you just found yourself in a situation which was difficult for you personally. And because you'd never done it before, you didn't know how to handle it. And you didn't realise you were going to show up in this way when it happened. Now for me, there was a situation where I took risk for the first time in my life that didn't seem to play out easily. And that was when I moved to Canada, went looking for opportunities to work more with people and ended up in commission-only sales roles, first in finance and then in real estate. At that time, things really started to get difficult, at least financially. I was doing good work, but financially it was stressful. And I was really appreciative to have met a mate, Chris, or who's also named Chris, who was playing guitar on the rooftop of a guy's place over there. He was actually an Aussie and he was heading back home. And after his set, I got chatting with Chris and had an opportunity to sit down with him to show him some ways that maybe the way I did things as a management consultant could help him with the way that he does things as a marketing and branding and design consultant or person or expert guy, right? As we have the fast car co-past. But what was really beneficial for me is that it gave me a chance to meet this guy who would, one, show me how it is that marketing works, but two, give me an opportunity to speak to him about some situations that were going on for me that were difficult. And I remember there was this one time when I was really struggling to deal with the situation I'd put myself in, and I ended up in a bar with Chris, and I don't remember how we got there, but I remember we were drinking Guinness. It was in Toronto, and I'd been chatting about what was going on for me at the time, and what was going on for me was nothing like what was going on for Chris right now, but he'd been through something similar to this in the past. And so he listened to me talk for a little while, and then he stepped away and took a couple of minutes and came back and he said, "You know what? It's like someone's holding you underwater. And initially when you're getting held underwater, it's very stressful, right? You're flailing and you're scared and you feel like you're going to drown. And of course, that's what the person who's holding you underwater is looking for you to be flailing and scared and feeling like you're going to drown. But at any given time, regardless of the situation you find yourself in, you're allowed to focus on calming down, relaxing, getting calm, and then starting to look at things a little bit more slowly so that you can better understand your options. And I think with Chris showing me that me underwater could be the me underwater knowing that if I just slow down and relax, I'm going to find myself a way to get out of this situation, right? And it was great to be able to speak with a person who I knew had been in a situation just like mine at some point in their life before, right? And I knew that if it came to it, there's a whole lot of things that maybe Chris could have helped me with because he had been through that before. Do you know what I mean? And so if you're going through a difficult situation right now, I encourage you to think about whether you know anyone who may have been through something like this before that you could potentially reach out and talk to over coffee or a beer or a meal to find out what happened for them and how they dealt with it. Because the interesting thing is when you show someone there's an issue, you potentially give a mate an opportunity to help and actually show up as a mate. And it could be that you can realise that you would appreciate if someone did this for you. But for some reason we've been conditioned to not talk about what we've been going on in our lives because we feel like we would be asking someone else to share the burden. And I would say to you that there's one school of thought that calls it a burden. Another one calls it a challenge. And there are plenty of people out there looking to take on more challenges, especially if those challenges are with a close friend. And I think what sometimes we don't understand is that us offering up our challenges to someone else gives them also an opportunity to step up as a mate. And it's a really simple thing that happened to me with a guy that I'd hardly known for 6 months, I think, at that stage. And it's a moment in time that sticks with me as one of the most important conversations I'd had with a mate. And for me, when I think of beers with mates, this is the main image that comes up for me. Chris coming back excited with a story to somehow shift the way I was thinking about things. And I think the great thing about, even if you're going through a difficult situation, you at some point, when all of this is behind you and things are looking much easier for you, you can show up as that person in someone else's life. And you, having had this difficult experience, somehow allows you to show up more qualified as a partner and a mate. So I know it sucks right now if you're going through something because of a risk you've taken over time. But I just want you to have a think about who it is that might have been through a similar situation that you could chat to, and how it is at some point in the future, once your mate helps you, you could pay someone else back moving forward once things start to get a whole lot easier for you. Thanks for listening. Bye.